Week 1, Story 4, The Gift of Pain. For today's music, I thought we'd try a little rain. It kind of seems fitting, doesn't it? With any luck, we'll get some good thunder thrown in there, right? Most people find yesterday's story about not needing work to be very reassuring, but it can also feel threatening. How could anybody possibly take offense at a vision of effortless unity? I mean, if it's legitimate unity, right? Nobody's feeling stepped on. It's not hard, really. When we're growing, change allows a breakthrough to something new. But when we're dying, any change just speeds breakdown. And that's about as threatening as it gets. The problem is not that growth is blind or that death is bad, actually. The problem is that it's so easy to get tricked into thinking you only need one leg, isn't it? When opposites become enemies, the whole system falls. Why do we fight to join a world that doesn't accept differences? That says you cannot help but be damaged by your bad feelings. Yet you need to keep and obey them in order to stay safe. Figure that one out, right? Oh, there we go. The body-mind knows differently. When the body feels pain, it's because hope has returned, not because it's lost. I mean, nobody likes to feel pain, sure, until they can't. I know people who can't, and nobody wants to be one of them. Can you imagine constantly getting into the worst trouble and never having any clue that something was wrong? Life honors free will. That means that when our conscious choices are in total violation of natural law, nature gives us anesthetics so it doesn't hurt. It's kind of frustrating, actually, if you want to figure anything out, Pain is a sign that we are waking up and healing. What a thought, huh? It's not a sign you've been abandoned. It's the perfect guide on how to fix whatever the problem is. Pain is proof that nature is cooperative, not flawed. Not what anyone wants to hear, right? Great, pain is a reason to celebrate. Sure, yeah. Isn't that masochism? No. Appreciating feedback is not the same thing as enjoying pain. Pain is what tells you to let go, not to hang on. I mean, you wanted a trustworthy guide, didn't you? By allowing yourself to feel rather than reject pain, you allow those who don't match your vibration to safely bounce off, and you allow the pain to be processed and healed so it leaves instead of haunting you. When we react, when we fight or run from whatever we don't like, we attract what we don't want all the same. When we just accept and describe the feelings that are bubbling up instead of explaining them and using them or justifying them or attacking them. When we say something like, I felt stranded, instead of, why didn't you pick me up, right? That helps free everyone to respond instead of react. So we get to experience something better. Enlightenment is not the defeat of the dark. It's becoming aware of and accepting it. Realizing that the idea that half of our brain is evil is pretty insane. We want to become whole instead of fragmented, and that is when the bad feelings go away. Feelings don't use the same system as logic, and that makes this easier rather than harder, actually. We don't need to figure anything out. We just need to allow all of our feelings, not just certain ones. That's toxic positivity. In other words, all we need to do is what we feel most punished for, or we will end up acting out whatever we are blocking our awareness of without even realizing it. And that is part of a perfect system of guidance. It's not evidence that people can't help being bad. A well-spoken post caught my attention recently. It said, "They say the soul weighs 21 grams, but no one tells you how heavy it feels when you're trying to carry your own. In a world that keeps asking you to leave pieces of your soul behind in exchange for being acceptable." When the feeling we get from something like that brings us down even further, I mean, just acknowledging it might be a step down, but if it brings you down, if you feel what I'm saying, what's bothering us is actually underneath what gets said. And that's what needs a voice. When we give words to the root that is haunting us, we feel better for saying it out loud. And if you can't say it out loud, just write it down. There's lots of ways of being mindful of something that don't have to involve saying things out loud, because I know a lot of people for whom that is a holy terror. You don't have to use words here, right? It doesn't mean we finally got the facts straight, though. Whatever idea, suddenly makes us feel better. Feelings are rarely facts. Deal with it. That does not make them invalid. They're just the right tool for the change we are ready for now. Because nature, or your higher self, or God, or however you think of these things, always knows what you're ready for next. No matter how overwhelming what you're avoiding might feel right now. We are alive for nothing less than the revolution of consciousness on planet Earth. And the pain we feel is what lets us dismantle what doesn't work and move forward with what does. I'd like to leave with a quote from, if you've never heard of him, it's a guy named Alan Watts that has always helped me feel better in a way that never felt toxic. We do not come into this world as strangers or outsiders. We come out of it the same way that leaves come out of a tree or waves rise out of the ocean. You are not separate from the universe. You're an expression of it. And all the parts of the universe are a continuation of the rhythm and breath and consciousness of perfection made visible. I'll be honest, I tweaked that a little. But you get the idea. Namaste, my angel. I honor the divine.